Okay, today is September 11th, 2012. I'm responding to an email question from my friend Leslie in New York City, who has a 4-year-old 7-pound Yorkie poo, who is well-mannered and travels on buses, subways, and cars. The only issue Leslie has is he's a big mama's boy. His blood pressure goes through the roof when someone else holds him, or she walks away from him at a location other than home. He has major abandonment issues. It's so bad they couldn't even get a good reading on him at the veterinary office last month. If you ever met Puccini, he doesn't want to leave her side. It's okay. So that's the question, that's the statement. This is something we deal with regularly. It's called separation anxiety. It's a phenomena that's caused by very loving humans. So I have little Lilo here, and if you could feel his heart, he's shaking in my hands. I don't know if you can see it, but he's petrified because his mother's not here. So it's a similar thing. So separation anxiety is a form, it's a phobia. It's an unrealistic fear of something. So little dogs become what we call eternal infants. Because if Lilo or Puccini were 100-pound dogs, we wouldn't be holding him like this. So number one, we always have a tendency of little dogs. We see this separation anxiety more frequently in little dogs than we do in big dogs. But we do see it sometimes when we're overly connected to the dog. And it becomes enabling, and we've this kind of codependency. So what we try to do in our world is let the dog deal with its anxiety. So rather than picking it up and putting it down, let them jump off the curb. So again, the dog is attached to mother's chest. We're holding the dog like this constantly, and then as soon as the dog's separated, all this anxiety. And of course, separation anxiety, just like human phobias, have all different levels. Some of it very debilitating. So some people don't like spiders. Some people are petrified of spiders, that they can't move. They shut down inside of a spider. So what we would do with Lilo and Puccini is start a process of not allowing them, just looking for a lead. Okay, so with the separation anxiety, what we do is we can't hold the dog, we can't enable them. It becomes, again, codependency. So we let Lilo deal with his world. We can't rescue him all the time. They have no concept of their size, so he's a dog. He's a dog like a German Shepherd, a Rottweiler. A dog is a dog is a dog. The problem with the ones, these little ones, so there's no tension, and we let him experience his world. Good boy. Good Lilo. So he's a little better now than he was before. So I could drop the leash, and if he's sniffing, if I get low, give me. Good boy. Good, good, good. So it's balanced. We have greater examples of this, but the bottom line, little dogs become eternal infants. We can't use the same human nurturing skills with dogs as we can with humans. So we can't make proper introductions. We can't explain to a 7-pound Yorkie poo that the vet is just checking its vital signs. We could maybe do that with a 5-year-old child, but we can't with a dog. So it's very important that we let the dogs develop psychologically by letting them just understand their world better. Ironically, he's following me around. Good Lilo. Lilo, good doggy, good baby, good Lilo. And again, as soon as I pick him up, he starts to shut down. So now what we see, just to continue this video a little further, just the mere sight of mom. So Lilo is doing pretty good, wandering around on his own, a little good, better. But now at the sight of his mother, he's back into this anxious state, waiting for her to rescue him from his environment, which is very normal and typical. So basically the point, and you can see it in the dog. Look at his ears are up. He's again now refocused on his mother. So it's out of balance. That's all this is. Separation anxiety is just about being emotionally and psychologically out of balance. Okay, so now we have Lilo in the comfort, the loving comfort of his mom's arms. So he's calmed down. So, and again, this is the problem. So when we see dogs, and it's quite natural. You have a dog, it's like, looks like a stuffed animal. We tend to overly love it. That's all. Love is an important part, but more important, psychological structure. And how you get it is by letting the dog free its be a little more independent and not having human conversations, not staring and not loving, and this constant, the dog never gets to develop mentally. And you'd be surprised by just adjusting certain things, not constantly staring at the dog, not constantly talking to the dog, obviously not holding the dog. And by putting obedience in the dog, a lot of this stuff goes away. Not completely, just like human phobias. It gets better, and that's the bottom line, and that's how you deal with it. Okay, so back to separation anxiety. So obviously the one methodology is not to be codependent and have the dog, enable the dog to be this way. So he would again be running around and not always in a bag or home. So if we're really desirous to fix this problem, or not fix it, make it better, what we'll do, and it's a little bit of an arduous process in that it requires you to withhold food altogether, and he would get his meals. He still gets meals. We don't starve the dog. He gets his meals throughout the day, but by strangers. So for example, now Lilo, I'm going to offer him a treat, and he's probably too nervous to eat, because if you're fearful, so if I'm flying in an airplane and I'm afraid of flying and it's bouncing around, I can't eat the bag of peanuts that they give you. So, however, if I was starving, and I start to learn after a while that, so this experience is a good experience. But you can see the dog, just because his mom is on the other, there's a mad dog on the other, not talking about another separation anxiety. But anyway, so Lilo is in a state of, and again, he's trembling. But it's not as bad as if he could be urinating, defecating, so it's bad, but it's not that bad. So if you want to fix it, we would withhold food, but again, it's not an easy process, and then always have someone else, a stranger, if it's a man or the vet or someone, and they wouldn't be getting any procedure done, for example. So you'd go into the vet, they would just eat. They wouldn't get examined, they wouldn't get prodded or poked or anything. They would just simply go to the vet for food. But again, it's a big problem. You know, if a dog's 4 or 5 years old, you live with it, it's not as debilitating where it interferes with your life. That's the fixing of the separation anxiety.